Coronavirus is a pandemic.
The death toll is rising in the U.S. California has issued a statewide order for people to stay at home.
The federal government considers 16 industries essential.
Farm workers have been declared essential workers by government officials.
First time that I heard official recognition that farm workers were essential parts of our society.
People don't understand or know what farm workers do. They don't understand the hardships that they have.
What we label or what we give value as label in society is what really needs to be rethought.
For a very long time, farm workers, like all the other Latino workers, have been in the shadows. You know, the pandemic put a light on that.
Appreciation and respect that we need to have for our farmers is more evident now than ever before. And the conversation should have been had long ago prior to the pandemic, but sometimes it takes huge global devastation such as this to make us aware of things that we really should have already been aware of before. The sacrifices that these people make in comparison to the vitriol that they have to deal with in the kind of public discourse is absolutely ludicrous, unfair, and insulting to what we define and know as the American dream. And I think this documentary does a fantastic job of exemplifying that through the interviews that we have, both with the farmers actively working as well as specialists in the field.
Very, very interesting piece, very eye-opening. Now, I mean, it's you know, a very interesting context here because these farm workers have always been extremely essential, extremely hardworking. They've always had to struggle. But during this time of COVID and the pandemic, especially during quarantine and everything shutting down, it really turns a light on how essential they are, you know, and we're seeing the footage of them out in the fields wearing masks, you know, taking the risk. You know, it just amplifies what they've been doing for us all along, you know. So, you know, yeah, it's a very extremely informative piece. You know, everybody that was interviewed in this did a very good job of communicating, you know, the plight and what's going on. The footage and the cinematography were really terrific. They did a great job of showing us everything. Everything was edited and pasted and directed very nicely. So the story was really, you know, communicated to us very well. But it's just super interesting, though, that it's in this bad time for the rest of us, for all of us, you know, that these few were out essential and working hard for us, and that this is opening up a greater forum and discussion for us to see them and to recognize their work. I hope this gets out there and gets seen because it is a very important message, and I wish the best luck to the team. It was wonderfully done.
Brings up such an important point, and how our farm workers, they are essential workers, and they should be given better wages. And just, wow, this was educational. The things that we take for granted, you know, and I found myself being smacked in the face with being guilty of that, taking for granted just all of the delicious fresh fruits and fresh produce that we have in our markets, and we have a tendency not to think of where it comes from. And I love the fact that this film shed light on where that comes from. I loved hearing the interviews of each person and kind of what their individual stories were. I thought that this was brilliantly shot. The cinematography was just gorgeous. They did such an incredible job with that, and also balancing, hitting this beautiful cinematography with these really heartfelt individual stories and showing you what the day-to-day life of a farm worker was and why they are heroes and why they are essential workers. Because without them, we wouldn't have food on our table. So, oh my God, thank you. Thank you so much for making this film. Thank you to our farm workers. It was great. This was really well done.
This was a real eye-opening short about farm workers, notably in California. The interviews really give you a sense of how hard farm workers toil in the fields, even during the pandemic. When other people were staying home, they were out in all weather, working long hours so people at home could eat good produce. Interesting stats regarding how important California is for its produce that the farm workers pick. It was amazing to see all the lovely fruits and vegetables being harvested in the film. This is a very important film that everyone should see. Governments need to better recognize these workers via updated legislation. Well done, film.
This movie was so well done. I really loved it. I think, just from a cinematic level, it's just like masterful and just so well put together. And then it's also, a very important story. So when you put those two together, it's just like a great film. And yeah, just to start off, like the beginning of the movie, great. It's just a great opening setup for the title card. And then after the title card, I love the kind of just quiet moments of like starting the day and what it's like being a farm worker, like waking up super early and then getting ready and working out in the fields. Like that was just such a nice way to like kind of personalize it and kind of make it intimate rather than just explaining everything. And yeah, it's super heartbreaking, when that guy talks about how everyone's saying that people are taking their jobs when, really no one wants these jobs, and it's hard work and it's heartbreaking. And I'm glad, you guys put together this film to highlight these people and to tell their stories, because I thought it was really important. So good job.
I really loved this. I think that the pandemic did shift and alter a lot of people's perception of a lot of things, and I think that having this title kind of thrown around of essential worker also changed a lot of things for people. I think that they just started to think about how we work in a day-to-day life, how society runs in a day-to-day life differently, what it actually takes on a daily basis to make that kind of stuff happen with farm workers, with people you don't necessarily think about, and you just kind of take for granted that your produce is right there when you go to the grocery store. And I live in California, and I drive past fields. I have relatives that live near fields and fields of strawberry fields or orange groves, or the list goes on and on. And if you drive through any parts of California really, or you're crossing California in any way, most likely you're going to drive past farm fields. It's just the reality of living in California. And I think bringing light to these people that work no matter what the weather is, because you need food no matter what, and you need produce, you need fruits and vegetables no matter what the weather is like. I think bringing light to those people, pulling them into the spotlight, is fantastic and wonderful. I really loved this. I thought that it did an entire workforce of people a great service and showed what service they provide to other people. And I think it's a fantastic movie that should be watched.
It's a wonderful documentary and very, very important for people to watch. It really highlights the experience of immigrant workers in America and the amount of work and labor and stress that they have to go through in order to provide for their families. Some of their families are here, some of them are back home. And it's something that gets completely overlooked. And there was a lot of just really amazing points made. One, they're not taking anybody's jobs because truly they are the jobs that Americans don't want or can't do. Another point was that this is very highly skilled labor. It's not low skilled. It's not something that anybody can do. It takes a lot of knowledge and expertise in their field, no pun intended, on what they do. They're the doctors of the fields. They're the maestros of the fields. Nobody knows the process better than them, inside and out. And they're like the backbone of keeping produce on our shelves and supplying us with healthy, beautiful looking produce that, for the most part gets completely, disregarded and people don't really appreciate. So I really like that this is highlighting people and their families and how hard they have to work for so little in return to really keep their industry going. And I think that it deserves to be respected and celebrated and reformed so that there isn't such a huge wage gap between the billionaires in, Silicon Valley and then these people who are way below the poverty wage and having to live in a house with multiple other families just to make ends meet. So anyways, I think this is a wonderful documentary. It's beautifully, beautifully shot, really well done, and something that I hope gets in front of many audiences.